So a huge portion of your immune system is actually in your gut, right? The microbiome and the immune system critically what? Intertwined. They're connected together. The immune system relies on the bugs in the gut to do what? To stay in proper shape and proper working order. Hi everyone, Dr. Partha Nandi, thank you for joining us on this amazing, we're on Tuesday, right? Wherever you're at, I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're here in Metro Detroit, and it's, again, beautiful, and I think 85 or so. So, listen, I love the fact that you're taking the time to join us today and taking the time out of your busy day. Today, we're talking about gut health and your immunity. So what's the connection, right? What is the connection between your gut and immunity? And I'll talk about this. I mean, immunity is top of mind. We heard about COVID-19 for so long, and now we've got the monkeypox, which is now a World Health Organization. It's a really high level of emergency for monkeypox. I'd like to know, hey, you know what? Instead of just talking about more antibiotics to take, more medicines to take, can we talk about how we can change your immune system naturally? So, hey, Christine, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Again, if you're joining us, let us know where you're joining us from. If you have any questions, we'll get those answered for you. So, gut health. Tell me, what are we going to talk about? So we'll talk about gut health. First of all, the development of gut health. We'll give you kind of a very high level of what the immune system is and what it's composed of, right? And then the connection between food, the gut, and immunity. And then really, what can you do about it? Things can you do with your food, with your gut, that can really help you? So I think it's going to be really important. And again, if you can, please share this with your community. We'd love to spread this around the country and the world because it's important information. I think it's always fun to see, fun things that are interesting that people are doing, but also to get information that can make you all health heroes. So if you can, please share this with your community. So I'll jump right into it. And we talked about this from birth, right? The immune system develops and is exposed to what? Microbes. Is exposed to these microbes, which are tiny living things that are found all around us. And sometimes, or not sometimes, but almost always too small for us to be able to see, right? And so it's important to know that this immune system is developing and they're being affected by the bugs around us. So these microbes or bugs that are all around us, they live all over the place, right? They live in the water, the soil, and in the air. Some microbes, some bugs make us sick, but many of them can be helpful. A lot of my patients, even the patients I saw today, asked me, what they recommend for some of the good bugs, the good microbes that we see every day. So I think lots of these microbes can really help us. The human body, we have trillions of these microbes or microorganisms. We call them the microbiome. So most common are bacteria, viruses, and fungus. For those of you who've been watching me on Facebook Live, hey, this is something that's really important to know this information, because manipulating them, meaning that getting them to help you, is really important. These bugs play a huge role in health and disease. Over time, these microbes can educate the immune system, affect the immune system to really distinguish between the things that are dangerous from the harmless or beneficial bugs. And it's really important to differentiate between the two. In the past several years, research in the microbiome really has grown. And so scientists have found that the microbiome is really important and essential in shaping the development of your immune system, innate immune system. So what is the immune system, right? So we always talk about this, and really it's important to understand what exactly is the immune system. The immune system is what protects your body from outside invaders, right? It's what keeps your body healthy so other things can come in, include germs such as, like I talked about, right? That we have bugs that come in, fungi, bacteria, viruses. We just had the COVID change a lot of what's going on. The immune system is made up of different organs, different cells, all kinds of material and systems that work together. The innate immune system, this is what you're born with, right? And the adaptive immune system, this is really important. This is what you develop when your body's exposed to stuff, right? So we talk about when you keep your kids and don't let them play, don't let them get dirty, your immune system cannot develop, right? Lots of us know that. You have kids, you want to get them involved, you want to get them exposed so that we can have the adaptive immune system work for us, right? So the adaptive immune system is really important because what happens, right? The immune system that's innate and adaptive work together. They work together in sync and synchronize each other. So when you get an infection or become sick, here's what happens. The healthy immune system helps you fight infections. Healthy immune system helps you fight the infections, heal the wounds. It's important to know that. Just hello. So Mary Reed, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us where you're joining us from. Sue Palmer, give us a shout. Where are you joining us from? And then also Joy Arroyo. And I'll answer all your questions at the end. Stay tuned. And also, if you think this is important, share this with your community. I would love that. And keep those loves and likes coming on. That helps us to understand that you know what? You guys actually like it. And that this is something that's interesting to you. Again, so we're talking about the gut and the immune system. What's the connection? Somebody asked me today, said, I have, I feel like I have a weak immune system. What can I do? And this is the live. This is the talk that really tells you what you can do with your gut to really change the paradigm. So a huge portion of your immune system is actually in your gut, right? The microbiome and the immune system critically intertwined. They're connected together. The immune system relies on the bugs in the gut to do what? To stay in proper shape and proper working order. And when you eat foods really high in nutrients, to me, high nutrients are not like eating, your fast food burgers or chicken and fries. That's not what it is. You want high nutrient, and those are whole foods that you make. Very important, because when you have foods that are high in nutrients, your microbiome is able to maintain a large variety of these microbes to produce substances that are helpful to your gut rather than harmful. And if it's helpful to your gut, that helps all of your body, right? And so when you have harmful substances that really mess up your immune system, mess up your digestive system, that is a problem. So the bugs in your gut, right, the microbiome interact. They connect with all of these potential bugs, pathogens, and protect your gut lining by preventing the harmful bacteria to take up shop or take up residence in your gut. So these same bugs interact with your immune system through the production of substances, stuff called short chain fatty acids. So remember, the bugs interact with your immune system, your protection system, by doing what? By producing this short chain fatty acids. That's important. And if you remember these names, butyrate, propionate, and acetate, those are important because what they do is those short chain fatty acids help you. Butyrate is the preferred energy source for cells that line the colon. So you produce this butyrate by your microbiome. Guess what? You're making the cells that line your intestine stronger. And that helps you to prevent what? From stuff getting across your intestine in the blood. Remember, there's a one cell layer thick between poop and blood. When you get that all, take away the integrity and you make it porous, when there's holes in it like this, then all the toxins go through. And the toxins go through. Many of you who are listening may think, hey, you know what? What is that? That means leaky gut. That means intestinal permeability. That means more inflammation. So you see all these people getting arthritis, getting Crohn's disease, getting ulcerative colitis. These autoimmune conditions, right, are getting worse because the holes are getting big. But if you have the right microbiome, the right bugs working in concert, you can produce these short chain fatty acids, right? The short chain fatty acids will do this: protect and line the cells of your intestinal tract to protect you from this leaky gut. And that's why it's so important. Now, what about propionate, right? Another short chain fatty acids, short for SCFA. So if you take short chain fatty acids, you look them up, SCFA, I'll type that out. For those of you who are trying to look this stuff up, SCFAs, right? Those are short chain fatty acids. Super important, because then you have propionate that's involved in producing glucose in the liver and small intestine. Bam, really, really important, right? And then acetate, why is that important? It's important for energy production and synthesis of lipids. Lipids are fat. They're integral parts. They're super important parts of your cell. If you don't have lipids, you don't have life. You don't have functioning organs. So very important. So I'll break it down again. Short chain fatty acids, your microbiome is making it. Butyrate, Butyrate, propionate, Propionate, acetate. Super important for what? Your cells and the lining of your colon, because that's, to me, all inflammation begins in the gut, whether it's your brain, whether it's your immune system, with other places. If you don't have good gut integrity, you don't really have anything, right? If you don't have good levels of gut bacteria, which means that not just one type, you want to have diversity. You want to have lots of types of cells. They always talk about, you want to have a lot of diversity in having friends and diversity experiences, right? So when you have that in your gut bacteria, it's not just important, it's instrumental in preserving good health. That's how important it is. So it's not just something that we talk about and you listen to on one of these talks, but rather it's super important to live your life. And once you understand why, you know what? It's really, really important to understand why. Somebody asked me, Eugenia said, can somebody type it for me? Let me type this up for you. Butyrate, propionate. Thanks for all the comments, by the way, and all the likes and hearts. We love seeing those. That's phenomenal. It tells us that you really you understand what's going on. And if you share this with some of your friends and some of the people that trust you, it'd be really good, because it's interesting that that people around the world can get good information that's helpful, rather than a bunch of stuff that somebody dancing on an elephant across the water or something like that. It's all fun, but this will really be important. So immune system helps to do what? Decides here's where it's connected. Immune system helps to decide the composition of the gut microbiome. It creates the environment for good bugs to thrive. So not only are your gut bugs helping your immune system is helping your gut bugs, right? And then the immune system helps to create and decide the composition of the gut microbiome, creating this environment for the good microbes to thrive and the bad ones to be eliminated. So the immune system does what? It can sense little molecules that are secreted or sent by these microbes and decide whether the microbe is good or bad, right? And then it decides whether it needs to rev itself up or get rid of the bad microbe. So the good gut microbes or bacteria or bugs can activate immune cells. So we're talking about this microbiome can activate immune cells, regulating, right, the immune system, shutting down, for example, autoimmune. Remember, many of you are watching know folks that have autoimmune disease, right? Where your own body's immune system. I did an endoscopy, which is a scope about half the size of a little finger, goes in your mouth. And this gentleman had immune cells, what's called eosinophils, in his esophagus, called eosinophilic esophagitis, an autoimmune condition. I'm seeing more and more of this. And so we're wondering why, right? So this is one way when you have autoimmune responses, your own body's immune system, instead of protecting you, right, it's attacking you. Having the right microbiome, having the right gut bugs can really help to be able to get the right balance of these microbiome to be able to help you to decrease the autoimmune reaction. So what can you do about it? It's all good. Now we understand there is a reaction. What is the point, right? To me, if you can't do anything about it, it's all academic, and folks will be, just, hey, you know what? This is all great. We're not a university, but we can teach you something, hopefully. And so what you eat can affect more than just your waistline, right? Everybody worries about I'm getting too fat, I don't look good in these clothes, but really it can affect more than your weight and energy. Folks don't realize that how much your diet, yes, your diet affects your immune system, right? The microbiome directly is influenced by your diet and lifestyle. Very, very important. The microbiome is influenced by your diet and lifestyle. So foods that we eat, right, affect the diversity, means how much of different types of microbiome you have, bugs you have, and the types of bugs you have, which in turn then affects the immune cells. So the foods we eat is going to really make a difference. Now, the typical Western diet, for those of you watching me from this part of the world, if you talk about the Western diet, lots of animal proteins. I'm going to have my supersized burger that I can barely put my hands around, right? High in animal proteins, high in sugar, high in processed foods. I tell my patients, if it's in a can or a box, try to avoid it, right? So if you have the Western diet, high in animal proteins, sugar, processed foods, and saturated fats, so you got bad fats as well, they result in what? Less diversity in your gut bacteria. Remember, when you have less diversity, you're not making those short chain fatty acids, right? Your short chain fatty acids, when you're not making those, you're not protecting your gut cell lining. So you're making it more likely to have a leaky gut and having intestinal permeability, having increased inflammation. You see how all this works? So you have a poor diet, it doesn't just make you feel crappy, it actually helps to make your immune system less effective. Very important to understand that. Now, good nutrition is important for many reasons, right? For proper gut microbiome and immune function. And again, having a diverse diet will give you a nice, diverse microbiome. And you want diverse microbiome because that'll help you to be able to get the stuff that'll help your cells to produce better protection against this leaky gut, better protection against inflammation. So again, for those of you just joining us, we're talking about gut health and your immunity. What's the connection, right? Now, long list of foods, and if you've been around with me, you know that long list of foods that nutritionists will recommend to help boost immunity. For example, you guys ready? Oranges. I love oranges. My son loves oranges. Strawberries. I had them a couple hours ago. Broccoli. We have them at night. These are simple foods. Contain vitamin C, and what does that do? Help increase blood levels of antibodies. Spinach, right? Not just for Popeye, but for you as well. Carrots, apricots have what? Beta carotene. Beta carotene is important. Why? Help your antibodies fight toxins. Now, but there are other foods also help to nourish the gut microbiome. You got to get ready. Please write this down if you have an opportunity. Remember, fermented foods with live cultures, right, help to increase the diversity, help the diversity of the gut microbiome. Kefir, right? Those of you who've had kefir. Sauerkraut. My wife loves sauerkraut. I knew it, but I didn't know it until we recently, I bought a huge jar, and she loves it. She took it all apart. Kimchi. All of my Asian friends know about kimchi, right? Yogurt. I just had some yogurt about an hour ago with the strawberries. Kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt. Fermented foods do what? Contain probiotics that can have additional benefits, contributes to that gut bacteria, contribute to that healthy gut, right? Very important. Probiotic yogurt's very good, and kefir, as I told you about. Now, what about prebiotics? Now, prebiotics, very confusing. Prebiotics are the foods that the probiotics eat. So these are the foods that the probiotics eat that can help them proliferate, right? Remember, you've got a trillion or so many or several trillion bugs in your intestinal system, and then you get a few billion probiotics. Now, how is that going to change the equation, right? You need the food for these bugs. Those of you just joining us, we're talking about gut health and immunity. Remember, if you love what you're doing, please share this with your community, right? And we get all kinds of interesting lives that we look at. I see all kinds of funny stuff, but this is really important to your life. So I want you to really be able to share this and give us some of those likes and loves. We love seeing them. So again, prebiotics, right? They are the ones that stimulate the growth of the good bugs. They help produce short-chain fatty acids. Remember, I talked about that. Those are the ones that line the cells, right? Line the cells of the intestine. Helps you not be leaky. Helps you not increase inflammation, right? So again, write this down now. This is important. Remember, these prebiotics are fibers that aren't digestible, right? So fibers, foods are important. They travel to your lower digestive tract, your colon, to be a good source for the healthy bugs in your gut. Garlic's a great choice. I mean, I don't know if anybody who doesn't like garlic. I love garlic. Chicory root's an example. Onions, bananas. I have a banana every single day. Every single day. Anybody who works with me knows that's Dr. Nandi's banana. So anybody who's watching that works with me, let them know, right? So, and then whole oats, apples. You know, my son, Rocky, my 2-year-old, he's never met an apple he didn't like. So this is stuff. And why am I mentioning this stuff like my family? Because here's an opportunity for those of you who are listening. Hey, you know what? We can start this at a young age. You get a 2-year-old interested in eating bananas and apples. When he's 50, it won't be, oh my gosh, I got to change my whole diet. Simple habits done every day leads to huge changes in your body. Simple habits that you put every single day. Every single day, you make these simple changes your life forever. So then you don't get into the fact you go see a doctor and the doctor says, sir, you've got clogged arteries and you've got, aches and pains in your joints because you've got seronegative rheumatoid arthritis. I mean, if you start the 2-year-old with apples and bananas, right, and give them stuff with garlic, it doesn't mean that it's a giant leap when they're older to make the changes. That's the difference. You make changes that are reproducible every day, and what they do every day, the incremental benefit, bam. What it helps you is that making those giant changes. We talk about 5 steps to being a health hero. 5 steps. One of the steps is what? Your nutrition plan, right? And the nutrition plan is not just a nutrition plan, it's with intent, meaning you have a purpose. You want to do something. You want to be around for your grandkids, right? You want to be able to, when you retire, enjoy it. You would not believe how many of my patients go to retirement and then their health goes straight down. And do they enjoy it? No. They spent their entire lives preparing for this time and they don't enjoy it. So to me, when you make these habits a part of every day, you not only are doing it for your grandkids and everybody else, you're doing it for yourself, right? Very, very important. You gotta, people who are teenagers and 20s, maybe they're doing okay now, but you want to prepare yourself for the future. So gut bugs, healthiest and support strong immunity. We need this. Never before have people been more interested in immunity than right now, right? Right now. Super important. No, gut bugs, to me, they're such an important part of it. You have more gut bugs than you have cells in your body. So it's really important to know that. I recommend also eat plenty of plants, right? I'm not saying that you can never eat a piece of chicken or never eat a piece of cake. It's not the point. It's that 80% plus eat plenty of plants, right? Include foods such as some of my favorite nuts. Nuts I got to talk about, right? So nuts are great, but you can't have 2 pounds of them. They're very fat, dense, nutrient dense. So I like a handful. But man, you know how those go. You start eating those and all of a sudden you're like eating half the can. That is not great, right? So you want to be able to eat nuts in moderation because you don't want to increase anything that not in moderation can really hurt you. So remember that. I love nuts, so I have to watch that for sure. Seeds, legumes, right? Legumes. People don't give legumes a chance. And then whole grains, fruits, plant-based diets are really important. Also have good fats, right? We talk about fats, again, in moderation. You can't have 5 avocados and tell me, Dr. Nandi, I gained weight, because you're going to gain weight if you have high fat, dense products. Maybe have 1 avocado, right? So it's important to do that in moderation. But the good fats will help you because you need fat to live. It's not about having no fat, and having this diet that nobody can follow. It's about having moderation to good fats, but not so much that you're killing your body with too much fat, right? So very important to have good fats. And what do we talk about? We talk about, let's say we have avocados, right? You can cook with olive oil. We talk about the Mediterranean diet. Olive oil is a huge part of it. I also like avocado oil, right? So it's important to know that. You want to have good fat because healthy fats support the immune system. Remember, I talk about the lipids, important part of cells. If you don't have lipids, you're not going to be able to do it. And this is also, when you go about, it's the fundamental idea about why you're doing what you're doing, right? Also protein. All my kids will be able to, even the 2-year-old will be able to eventually tell you that, hey, what are the 3 components of food, right? You got carbs, you got fats, you got proteins, right? Very, very, very important to know, right? You want to have all those. You can't say the extreme diet's about, I'm going to avoid all carbs. Not good, not sustainable, really pretty stupid to say that. You can't avoid an important part of your body's needs, right? Can't do that. Unsustainable. So you want to have what? Complex carbohydrates. You want to have what? Healthy fats, not no fat, because your body needs fat. There are organs in your body that preferentially use fat, right? Use fat. If you don't have fat, then it's not going to work. So you have to remember that. Also remember, eat protein every meal. Dietary protein can come from animal products. We all know that. There's people like, doctor, I can't have a plant-based diet because, I need to be strong. I need protein. Well, nobody told most of these folks that plant sources can also be great sources, right? You can have legumes, you can have beans, you can have broccoli, all kinds of things that can have protein in plants, right? So you talk about, I believe Tom Brady is vegetarian, right? You got these great athletes that are vegetarian, and they're not eating big slabs of steak and God knows what in order to get protein. I'm not saying that you have to become vegetarian. What I'm saying is that the idea that the only way you can get protein in your diet is to do what? Is to be able to eat a bunch of meat. It's just not true. Again, for those of you just joining us, I am talking about gut health, and I'm talking about how gut health and the immune system are related and how you can bolster your immune system by way of your gut. So remember, right? Remember, it's not always about taking all these pills and more antibiotics. It's about really going to the root cause. And to be the root cause and the root solution for immune health is what? Through the gut. Remember, I love, because I'm a ringer because I was born in a family. My mom always cooked with spices, turmeric, cumin, right? So I'm already biased. But if those of you have never tried it, cumin, you can put that in eggs. You can put turmeric in it. You can put cumin in your chili if you want. You can put it in your vegetables. It really enhances the taste, but also improves the health quality, right? Improves the health quality of the foods. Super important. Again, keep those hearts and likes coming. Always helps us. Share this around, and those who got shared, some of your friends share this again. This is how we can use the power of social media. Lots of people talk about all the bad things social media does. To me, it helps us stay connected with Christine. It helps us get connected with Lori and Eileen and Debbie and Eugenia. This is how we build a community. To me, it's really pretty powerful, right? So to me, listen, some of these foods I talk about are all in my Superfoods cookbook. So I will put up a link at the end of this live, a Superfoods cookbook link, so you can get into my Superfoods cookbook, or you can just go to my website, let me just put my website, it'll be easy for me to do that, askdrnandi.com, and you can go in there and, hey, you know what, you can look and take a look, and you'll find all kinds of information that we have, including my Superfoods cookbook, right? So very, very important. Very, very important, right? Remember, it's free. We spent a lot of time and resources doing it because, to me, when Kelly and I set out to do this, right, I remember talking about her when we were dating. Like, we want to impact people's lives. So I think that's really important to offer people, tips and methodologies to be able to make a better life. We'll put the link for Superfoods Cook. Will be updated every year, but new superfoods in there. And what'll happen is that when you have this, you have some armamentarium. Doesn't mean you follow the recipe exactly. We got 60 easy recipes in there, but you can make your own concoction. But a little bit of this, a little bit. That's what I always do. Drives my wife kind of a little bit nuts because I put a little bit of this, a little bit of that to make it taste the way I want to. But the essential thing are the ingredients that can help your health. That's to me important, really important to do that. Again, it's really about, again, making changes that are reproducible. I would not recommend doing things, right? We have 60 recipes, but maybe, only 20 can apply to you. Well, heck, use the 20. Because if you're not going to ever, cook with that more than once, let's try to use the recipe that you'll use every day. To me, it's important to make habits. Simple, small habits every day leading to large results. That's the way I always think. If you don't make it a habit, right? Simple habits. I tell my kids, try to make your bed every morning. There was a famous general who wrote a book, right? I can't remember the title of it, but it's about making your bed, right? You make your bed every day. It translates into an effect the rest of the day and affects your life. Same thing. Make simple habits in your diet, in your habits of what you do with your family every day, and it can yield results throughout your life. So again, we're talking about gut health and the immune system. I'll sum up some of my comments here. The microbiome, remember, stimulates the immune system, breaks down potential toxic food compounds, makes or synthesizes vitamins and amino acids. Remember, the microbiome, good microbiome, can do what? Produce something called short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, butyrate, propionate, acetate, super important. Remember that butyrate is the preferred, right? It's what the colonic cells, the cells that line your intestine, it loves that stuff. It's food for it. So it prevents it from becoming infiltrated with toxins. It prevents it from becoming leaky. So it's important to do that. Propionate, involving in producing glucose in the liver and small intestine. Acetate, important for energy production and making lipids. Lipids are super important for life to make cells. So super important there. So having the right microbiome, the positive microbiome, having a diverse microbiome, right? So diversity to me is the spice of all of life, right? So you want to make sure that your microbiome is the same way. Right? And you don't have, it doesn't have to be bad. It can be flavorful. My Superfoods cookbook can be exciting, and it can really be a game changer for you by finding ways to cook foods that you didn't think of before. A healthy, balanced diet, right? Not some crazy diet that says you have to avoid all these foods, not sustainable, not useful to me. A balanced diet and a balanced lifestyle, right? Not working 92 hours a day, or and then doing nothing, or not working at all, or just having a balance in your life so that you're not taxing your body, your immune system, and your health. Because remember, when you don't have a balance, you increase cortisol. Cortisol is horrible for your immune health. Cortisol is horrible for your gut health. We know that when you have increased cortisol, you do what? You have less diverse of a microbiome. You have more inflammation. So when you have more inflammation, that prevents you from doing what? Having a healthy life. That's the key. So it's all interrelated, right? The gut microbiome, having a stressful life, having a balanced life, having a system of community that supports you. That's why we came up with the 5 steps to being your own health hero. The 5 steps having a purpose-driven life. Anything that you do when you have purposeful living, it makes it so much better, right? When you have the right diet to feed your body, when you have the right form of movement that's purposeful. When you're moving your body, the body's healthier. Not only are you giving it the movement to make your muscles move, but also you are changing the entire environment internally and externally. Remember, having a community, I thrive in my community, both my family, my work community, they all come together. And lastly, spirituality. Listen, every day, whatever spiritual activity you can do, it doesn't always have to be praying, right? If it's praying, that's great. That's awesome. But it doesn't have to be praying. I pray every day, but I also feel meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, all this helps you because it reduces the unrest in your body. Remember, it's dis-ease, right? We talk about this. Dis-ease. When you're at ease and you don't have dis-ease, it helps the body to remain healthy, decreases cortisol, helps your microbiome thrive. It's all part of the same thing. They're not isolated. They're not in different silos talking to each other from a distance. They really are all together. So when you do this, it's super important. So I know we got some questions here. I want to answer some of those. Christine, thank you for joining us. Sue Palmer, thank you for joining us. Mary Reed talked about antibiotics that killed my gut last week. And so antibiotics, right? A lot of my patients come to me and say, Doc, you know what? I want antibiotics because I've got infection. I'm sure of it. Remember, antibiotics are like an atomic bomb, a nuclear weapon into your gut, and that'll change your gut environment instantly. So remember, always think twice. Antibiotics can save people's lives. I'm not against it. However, use it wisely and judiciously. So it's important. Hey, give us your questions. We'll answer those questions right away. Please give us your questions, and we'd love to be able to see what you're thinking about. And thank you for those nice likes and hearts and everything else. So Sue Palmer said, you mentioned curcumin for inflammation. Doesn't it cause kidney stones at high doses if you keep taking curcumin? But if you're concerned, always talk to your doctor. If you're at risk for kidney stones, talk to your doctor for sure. And then Barbara Schrader says, we get illnesses from our gut. And absolutely, you got to take probiotics all the time. It's very important because your probiotics provide protection, right, from these little tiny bugs that can really change the environment, change the equation. I love it because they're like your trillion-member army that can protect you, or it can really make your life not so easy. Another question. Let's see. I'm going to look at some more questions. And Anne says, how much probiotics should you take, right? I think if you have a good probiotic with several billion, CFUs, right, colony-forming units, and you take that probiotic along with fermented food, you should be fine. The key is that when you look at the label for the probiotics, make sure that you're getting it with the right shelf life. Now, the labeling authorities always say you have to be able to write the colony forming units that you'll expect during the duration of your shelf life. Remember, if it's something that you're not trusting, a brand you don't trust, they could write down you have 20 million units, 20 million CFUs, but by the time you get it, it's down to 5. So it's important. The other important part is that when you take probiotics, they don't always have to be refrigerated. They can actually be you can have it at room temperature depending on how they're processed. So very, very important. Let's take a look. Some more questions. And can you take, Michelle says, can you take additional fiber? Absolutely. I think that the more fiber, the better. It's going to help you to have good bowel movements. It's going to help you to be able to get food for your probiotics. So very, very important. And then let's take a look and see. Our gut microbiome regulates our entire immune system. So how come immunity comes from vaccine? Very important question, right? So people say, hey, you know what, Dr. Nandi, you just told us that your gut is important for your immune system. So why do you need a vaccine? So the gut is very important in the immune system. But when you have diseases like COVID that comes through, here's why a vaccine is important, because it gets your immune system revved up quickly to be able to fight the next infection. Because unlike other infections, this one can be lethal. May not be to you, but maybe to your neighbor. So gut health is super important for your immune system, but it's not the only weapon we have, right? I'll tell you, vaccines have saved millions of lives throughout our history. So, hey, great live and talk, and thank you for all of your amazing questions and advice. Keep them coming, okay? Remember, make healthy living a part of every day. And I will see you next time. Namaste. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Partha Nandi. And if you enjoyed that video, you're going to love the next one. It's full of incredible information to help you start your health hero journey.